mornings at 9 a.m.
On the radio. Hey guys, Jim McCarthy here. Jim McCarthy Voiceovers and Magic Apple Technology, about to head out and get to a meeting, and feel really fired up right now about doing a video about personal branding and the virtues therein. You know, this is a little bit about personal branding, and also a little bit about starting things. You know, you have an idea and just going for it. Something that I've been guilty of not doing in the past, and now I'm kind of getting on top of things that I've always probably should have done. Now, what spurred this, was, I guess you could say, a friend of mine who is in the car business. He's at a Louisville Chevy dealer in Louisville, Kentucky. And he is the LouisvilleChevyDude.com. The guy brands himself like a mofo. His name is Mike Davenport. Look him up. You'll be able to find him right at LouisvilleChevyDude.com. I've been watching him for several months now, if not about a year, in all these different groups that I belong to for car sales. A little bit of background on me. I was in the car business for 2 years, about 7 months with Honda, a year and a half with Mercedes-Benz. Loved the brand. Unfortunately, the company that owned the dealership I was not a big fan of, and the direction they're going is, I will always say, is great for the consumer, not so great for those selling the cars. And that's just the way I think, and I've not been proven wrong yet. When you lose certain salespeople over time in a particular that they've been there a long time and they've built their own personal brands for their own customers, and the company decides to just let them leave, you know, you kind of get what you pay for over time. But that's a whole nother story. So anyway, got out of that business, and now I am a business development and marketing manager for Magic Apple Technology, which is a business phone system business here in Nashville. And just doing my thing, because that is my thing. After a while, I turned 40 this year, and you just realize sometimes it's just right to do your thing. For 18 years, I did my thing. I did it in radio, and after a while, it just, I needed to make extra money. So the virtue I got out of the car business was that I learned how to sell, and that really helped me in providing value propositions to whatever it is that I bring to the table, whether it's going out and meeting somebody for a phone system presentation, for voiceovers, which is another thing that I do at JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com, and also with some of the video stuff that I've done in the past. And this is another thing. I got to have the video set for portrait and not landscape, because on Periscope I still have yet to figure out how to make it so the landscape automatically gets caught when you actually record it. But anyway, so that's my apologies for it being a portrait, because I'm a video guy and it drives me nuts when people don't have the phone set right. But anyway, back to Mike Davenport. The guy goes out to a conference in Las Vegas. Okay, keep in mind, 2,000-mile flight, completely out of his region, but over the years has branded himself as being the guru for Corvettes, the go-to guy for Chevy in that region, and the whole, I guess you could say, the Midwest. His social proof map is off the charts. He believes in himself. He's there early. He's grinding away, just making sure people know who he is and what it is that he does. And the guy does a fan-friggin-tastic job of it, man. Mike, I don't know if I've never talked to you before, but from afar, from a marketing standpoint, I am a huge admirer, okay? With that being said, he goes to Vegas, and while at this conference where he was speaking, sells a Vegas resident, 2,000 miles away, sells them a Corvette. Okay, if I'm a Chevy dealer in that market, I'm like, how the hell did we miss out on that deal? We sold a car. We couldn't sell a Corvette in the Vegas market to one of our own residents. We let it get away from us to a guy from Louisville. Oh, I'd be all over my guys. Guys, look what he's doing. Okay, whether you're in the car sales business, whether you're in voiceovers, whether you're thinking about starting a business, anything, make sure personal branding, the whole notion of it, is making sure people know what it is that you do. Okay, that is the simple gist of it. Okay, one of the things that I remembered from, there are certain people that come in and out of your life, and there are certain little snippets of what they say that stay with you. When I was in radio, I had a program director named Tom Bass in my Connecticut radio days. One of the things he said to me over time, and this is very important to me, he said, you're never going to hear anybody on their deathbed say, man, I should have spent more time at work. My point is, why work? We're all cut out to do something. We're all gifted to do something. Okay? My buddy Rich Redmond plays drums for Jason Aldean. He plays drums like he's eating a freaking steak. Like he's just digging into him. And every friggin' show you watch that with him playing, that's what he was born to do. Okay? And against all odds, because it's a very difficult business to make it in, he's made it, and he's continuing to do so. He's even setting up things for after, the inevitability of the current gig going away, because eventually it will. A lot of these types of gigs don't last. So he's setting things up he's making hay while the sun is shining, and using and developing his personal brand to make sure he sustains for the rest of his life into retirement. Okay, whether and is it guaranteed success? No. But it's doing what you were meant to do. Okay? And I just got to the point in my life where this is what I was meant to do. For 2 years, I was in the car business. I really enjoyed selling Mercedes. It's a great brand. It spoiled me for cars for forever. The dealership that I was a part of was a great dealership. Okay? The management there, and I told him this on the last day of my time there. I said, I don't blame you for everything that has transpired since the past 6 to 8 months. This happened. He was at the helm of the dealership for 10 years. 10 years with hardly any turnover. You don't do that by bad management. That doesn't happen. You do that by creating a culture where your strategy can blossom. Because culture eats strategy for breakfast. Yet another thing I've heard from a previous podcast I listened to. Think about that for a second. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Now, if you have a culture, whatever sales organization you're in, that nurtures and encourages the notion of a personal brand, meaning that if you're representing a major corporation, whether you like it or not, when you're going face to face, you're a salesperson for that organization, and you're also a personal brand. You yourself, your name is going to be associated with that corporation. Now, in the end, it takes time. As long as you have the passion for it and keep on going forward with it, you're going to have a successful brand. It's going to happen. Success, how do you measure it? Well, it depends on how hungry you are. Okay? This is probably another great personal branding thing with my buddy Rich, who, the drummer, again. One of the things he's doing to set his career up for the rest of his life, or this part of his life, is a public speaking, a motivational speaking event that he goes around to different drum shops, colleges, major corporations. He takes his drums with him, he plays along, but he calls it the Crash Course for Success. Okay, now here's another organization that his name is going to be associated with. Crash is an acronym, and I think it can apply to all of our lives, whatever profession we're in. Okay, if you really think about it, if you're in the car business, you're told this in a myriad of ways from your managers. Hopefully, if you're in a good culture and a good dealership. Crash, C-R-A-S-H. Commitment, relationships, attitude, skill, and hunger. I think everything before hunger could probably just fall flat on its face if you don't have the hunger. How bad do you want it? And there are going to be varying magnitudes of people who want it more than anybody else. But that depends on how bad you want to brand yourself. I've been listening and watching a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk lately. That guy's off the charts, man. He's all about that personal branding aspect. And if in a sales position, you're not taking advantage, and I'm just as guilty. Okay, this is something that I need to start doing as well, and I've begun doing my voiceover stuff, and I've been trying to integrate it with the Magic Apple technology endeavors that we're doing. With all the social media tools that we have at hand, Periscope, okay? What can you do to make your personal brand that much more robust? I have yet to see a Periscope broadcast with a car salesperson doing a walk around on a car and asking and answering questions while doing the walk around. It's easy. It'll take you 20 minutes. If I were still in the car business, I would be all over it. Now, I got out of the car business because I guess it's just not for me. It's not my wheelhouse. But what I did learn from it, again, was how to sell and how to, appreciate really nice cars. But also how to build a personal brand. So that's what I did at Mercedes. My flame just went out when they kept on taking more money off the table, and I'm just going to be completely honest about that. Could I be making excuses? Sure, absolutely. But, sorry, when a company keeps on getting hazy about how much I'm going to get paid versus how much more work I'm going to be doing, not signing up for that. And I'm unabashedly, more than happy to talk about that. Again, I think it's going to be a model that's great for consumers, but if you work there, you're going to be not working for much. Maybe I'll be wrong, I don't know. But anyway, what it did teach me was a lot more about personal branding, holding yourself accountable to people who you sell to, who you're with, encouraging other people as best you can. Because you're also building that personal brand with your coworkers. You're building your personal brand with people that see you on Facebook, with your customers, giving them the confidence to know that they can refer their friends and family to you and business associates and they're going to be treated the same way. Now, again, a lot of that comes down to the culture, the organization that you're in. If it fosters a personal branding atmosphere where your management acknowledges that the responsibility and weight of all that confidence falls squarely on your shoulders, despite what happens in a car deal or any particular deal or anything in sales, you're the face of that organization. There's a tremendous responsibility to that. So, whenever I sold a car to somebody, Mercedes at the time, and even up until the last time I was there, I'll give them that, they were very good at making sure the customer was taken care of on the sales end. Very good. Making sure the cars looked great, that they were brought up to speed. They did a great job at that. So as long as you have the backing of your organization, you should generally not have that many problems. If you have, if you're a personal brand in a place that, has a short-sighted outlook on their own future, and they burn their customers and don't take care of them, and aren't transparent, and they try and, fudge numbers and all this other stuff that people are getting wise to every day. It's just getting tougher and tougher to do that. Yeah, you're probably going to have a little bit of an issue. And in that case, I would just suggest brand yourself as a good car salesman. Don't marry yourself to any particular brand. This way you can transfer around, and find that home dealership or organization, wherever it is that you want to land. But that's it for my rant, because I'm kind of running out of steam and I have a headache. So, if you got anything out of this, share, comment away, tell me I'm full of crap, whatever you want. I mean, I may be full of crap, who knows. But just something that inspired me this morning. Again, kudos to Mike Davenport. Dude, you're killing it, man. You know that, though. You don't need me to tell you that. Big admirer from here. Big fan. Love you. And just for all my guys who I used to work with at Honda and Mercedes, you know what I would say to you. You know how I am. You know? I have yet to see you guys do anything. All right? And you know what's happening at that dealership now. It's not exactly the up bus coming in quite frequently. You got to dig in to your existing business and find a way to get into referrals. And that's another thing. Personal branding. Get into referral organizations. Go to the chambers of commerce. Go to, visit a BNI chapter. Consider joining a BNI chapter. Yes, it's time consuming. Yes, there's a commitment where you got to actually bring something to the table. It's called the giver's gain attitude, where if you bring things to the table, inevitably it'll come back to you. Okay? I tried BNI. I was in BNI when I was selling Honda. The only thing is that I'm a family guy. Okay? And this may be a very light excuse. I'll acknowledge that. A lot of time was put into that dealership, probably a good 70 hours per week. You know, weekends, Sundays, all that stuff. I've got 3 small children, and I just realized, you know what? I don't have that much time. I got to, cut something out. And unfortunately, but BNI worked. I sold a few cars in a short amount of time I was there because I built trust with the people that I was meeting with on a weekly basis, and the organization I was a part of was willing to stand behind their product. Okay. So, with that being said, definitely look for other ways to network. Think outside the box. All right? Don't even just rely on your current customer base to give you referrals and repeats. Okay? Figure out a way to use the tools at hand to brand yourself.